here I go from scoring, being a top scorer of the school in history, then going to my first year in college. I don't know what happened, but I think it was a conversation with the coach or something she said to me, and all my confidence just went out the window. It was gone. And so my whole entire freshman year, I did not play basketball. I sat the bench. I played maybe played like 3 minutes or 5 minutes the entire season. The talent was there, and it was kind of frustrating because I knew I could compete with the girls on the team. I knew the people that were starting over me, I was better than them. So I wasn't bitter at all. I was just, the confidence just wasn't there. And until this day, I can't pinpoint why, I lost my confidence, maybe because it was just a different level. It wasn't as friendly as high school. Everybody's just competing. It was just much, much harder. And so that was the most difficult time playing sports because, again, I loved playing basketball, but I couldn't do it for the entire year because I lost my confidence. And again, it wasn't a talent thing because by the time I graduated Millersville University, I was also a 1,000 point scorer. And at the time I graduated, I was 11th all time in history. So it wasn't a talent thing. It was a mindset thing. And I'm pretty sure you're going to ask me how I got my confidence back. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer that. And so I kind of had that self-awareness, that self-evaluation of, Gladden, look how you are walking into the gym. You're walking scared. So it's about that, the body language we talk about. Yep. My body language wasn't there. It was very timid. When I stepped on the court, I was scared. I wasn't focusing on the right things. I was focusing on what his coach is going to yell at me for today. I was focusing on what kind of drills are we going to do that I'm going to mess up on. So as you know, where focus goes, energy flows. So I was just focusing on all the wrong things. And I also, the self-talk was just horrible. Like, gee, you better not mess up today. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And one thing that I packed with me to college is one of the moms on the basketball team made me a scrapbook, and it was all of my article clippings from high school. And it was a thick book. So all of my article clippings, the headlines of Gladden dominated once again, another headline saying Gladden is unstoppable, these things. So I decided to open that book and remind myself who the heck I was. Like, girl, if you were able to do this, you can still do it in college. You just need to know it's just an adjustment. And so I really had to remind myself, you know how to play the game of basketball, right? Just go in there and play your game. So my mindset shifted from thinking about what his coach is going to yell at me today. I just came in the court just feeling just more confident. Whenever we were told to run, I made sure I was the fastest one there, made sure I was there at practice early, getting my ankles taped, just being prepared as well. And so I noticed a difference in my mindset, my body language, my focus, looking the coach straight in the eye instead of looking at the floor, or when she asked me questions, I didn't mumble, I spoke the words out. It was just a different version of myself. So that's how I was able to build my confidence. And of course, the self-talk, the affirmations, and just reminding myself who I was.
Wow. Well, you were right. And I was going to ask you that question. And you and I, have had a couple of different conversations because I think both of us, you've done, your own masterclass or workshop on self-confidence. I've developed a talk on unshakable self-confidence, and we were able to compare notes and go through, the confidence gap book that you read later, but you really taught yourself how to overcome that confidence gap as a freshman or sophomore in college. And I think this is true, not just in sports, but I think it's true in life that as we continue to elevate, we get that promotion, we get that new job, we start to get performance. We start to question, and self-doubt creeps in for the first time. Yeah. Like you were saying, in high school, you were, probably a three-year varsity starter. You were getting accolades in the paper. That you were getting
four-year varsity starter. Yes.
Yeah, 4-year varsity starter. All conference, all league, MVP, high score.
Yep.
Then you go to college, or you get a promotion at work, and next thing you know, well, everybody was a 3-year starter, 4-year starter. Everybody was all conference. The pats on the back from the coach aren't coming all the time. And so all of a sudden that worry, doubt, fear, and insecurity creeps in, and you start to revert inside. And I love what you did. I'm a big proponent of confidence conditioning. And what you described about, I just listened to Zach Sorensen's talk about when he was looking at improving his swing, he went to watch Manny Ramirez in the film room. And I don't know if you heard this, but Manny Ramirez would go into the film room and he'd put on his headset And Zach was always looking at his strikeouts. He was always trying to figure out what was wrong with his swing. He'd watch all of his strikeouts. He'd look at his elbow. He'd look at his hip rotation, and he kept striking out. So we wanted to see how Manny prepared to hit and what he did when he watched film. Walks in, Manny's got his headphones on. He sits down. The music's blasting. He hits play, home run, triple off the wall, double grounded out, sliding into third. He would watch all of the hits that he achieved. He would watch himself being, and when they left, Zach was asking him, how come you don't look at what you're doing wrong? He goes, because I'm getting ready to play. You just watch yourself strike out 18 times. I just watch myself hitting dingers off the guy I'm about to face. Who do you think feels more confident? And it's
absolutely,
we're not trained to hunt the good things. We have this, even in work, it's like you have these days and it's like, 80, 90 things go right. And on your way home, you're like, oh, I really didn't get that.
Right. You think about that one thing.
Yeah. So I love that you went back and really encourage in sport or in business to really, at the end of the day, look for those good things, hunt those good things, see the good that is you, because what you do focus on expands, and you know that as you look for the good in you, you'll start to feel more confident. I love the way you built yourself up. It's so
absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep. Absolutely.
So after, what a great college career. I mean, obviously you've just continued to elevate. What happened after school? Where did your career take you?
Right. So after school, I played a few years semi-pro and my knees were like, girl, give it up. We're done. So I stopped playing basketball. Didn't have the best of knees, which was fine. It's something I fully accepted. I was not upset about it. It's like, okay, we're done. Like, let's move on to the next. So with my degree in environmental health and occupational safety and environmental health, that's what I got my Bachelor of Science degree in. I got a job in my field. And this is where I like to help my fellow female ladies in the workplace, is because I feel like we don't give ourselves much credit and we kind of hide ourselves in the room. And so the first 3 years, and this is no lie, I was, and till this day, I am always the only African-American in the room. I'm always the only female in the room, and I'm always the youngest in the room. 10 years in the field and nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed was my mindset. So in the first couple of years of my career as an environmental health and safety specialist, that's what I started out as. I was just not the worker that I am now. I was not the woman that I am now. I would shy away from the meetings, always sit in the back, pray that no one called on me and asked me any questions, because I'm like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to be here. I was not motivated at work. And it wasn't until I think my 4th year at the job, I ended up being fired. And that was the huge wake-up call, because like my whole life just kind of rolled back in my head. And I was talking to myself, like, how dare you get fired from a job because you weren't performing right? All your life, you've been a performer. All your life, you showed up and you dominated. And for you to get fired because you weren't showing up, you weren't motivated to do a job because you were doing half but work, that is unacceptable, Gladys. So I had that talk with me, and, going back to my parents, like talking to myself again, like, you've seen what your parents did. They took you literally from the ghetto to a huge house in Pennsylvania. How do you think they did that? They busted their butt. And so for you to get fired for not busting your butt, that is a slap in your parents' face. And this is the conversation I'm having with myself.
Yeah, right.
And
oh my God.
It's like, how dare you? So at that time, I knew something had to change. And so I thought to myself, why was it that I was so dominant on the court? I had all the confidence in the world, but here I'm lacking confidence. I don't know what I want. And it all went back to goal setting for me. I'm like, okay, when I played basketball, I had goals every season, every quarter, every day. I had a goal. Here in the workplace, I had no goal whatsoever. So I got huge on goal setting. Like, I love goal setting right now. So I set goals, and my top goal was, I love to travel, right? I am Caribbean. So I always thought about traveling to the Caribbean islands and just staying there for work. I visualized me getting back with my ex-boyfriend, Ryan, at that time, just having a beautiful family. And I also visualized of having a business where I could help athletes with their mental game. And so in the workplace, I went from, being shy and not talking to just being one of those dominant women you see in the workplace, looking at people in the eye, demanding that me being in the room, and it's not being rude or being disrespectful. It's just standing up for myself. Sometimes people will have that unconscious bias and say certain things to women. In the beginning, I'll just let it slide. But now it was like, hey, that's inappropriate. You cannot say that to me. Or if someone would leave me off an email, whether it was on purpose or not, is, hey, I should have been in this meeting. You left me off in this email. Let's see how we can prevent that from happening in the future. So it's me more like speaking up and having more confidence in myself. And so within, I think, 5 years, I ended up being the regional environmental health and safety engineer, where my region is actually the Caribbean. And I have an office in Aruba, Bahamas, British Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands, and Curacao. I married my high school sweetheart, Ryan Frasso. And we have a beautiful daughter. And I have now my own business where I help people with their mindset, which is called I Am Mentally Tough. So it all came around full circle. You just have to know what you want, and you have to know how to get there. Like that gap from where you are to where you want to get to, you have to do the work. You have to. If not, you're just not going to get it.